It looks like the louche is working. It seems to be rocking and rolling pretty good. And you get a good look at everything. You can look upstairs and see what's going on up there too. You're focusing on that faucet, but you might neglect seeing something in the background. It's not that the faucet's not active; it's pretty active in itself. But I have to have good quality videos that are clean, that people can see real clearly that there's something going on. It looks like somebody's messing with my camera again. They like to get in here and mess with the camera too. So, even though I'm not working it, that doesn't mean that somebody else isn't taking control of it. Quite an unusual thing to watch too. As the lens on your camera is autofocused and adjusted, it's clear that there's somebody else has the camera in their hands. It's not non-human. I wish I had another camera I could film this camera being moved and manipulate it while it's filming that up there. It's quite a sight actually. You start going, well, okay, now there's something just a little too odd with that. But anyway, up there, I don't know if you can see it. There's a phone up there, clear in the back in the corner. You see the drapes up there on that wall, in that little off center left there. Right below that, and there's a phone standing up there and a little charger. And sometimes you'll see that thing turn and twist and do all kinds of stuff up there. It's moving right now. It might turn over this way towards us. Let's see what's happening. There's a cord also coming out of the wall right next to it that's moving. Let's see, I think it's going to, yeah, it looks like it's turning. It's rocking back and forth, that's for sure. Yeah, it gets pretty active up there sometimes, you know, and like when I'm down here filming something down here, the stuff in the background starts going nuts too. So it's quite an ordeal. Let me see if I can show you where it's at. Just a little bit better here. Right there, see there's an outlet on the wall? Right below that outlet is a phone. It's sitting right there on a little cradle thing. Now you may not be able to see that from... Let's see if I can get under. But that phone will move. That phone moves. It's turning right now. I can see it's turning around already. So yeah, it's got its own deal going on up there as well as what goes on with the faucet down here. And what I've noticed is these things tend to follow in a straight line. So it's like whatever line or thought of consciousness is controlling this, as it's laid out, generally proceeds in a straight line. And so it will affect things behind it as well as the things that it's directly acting upon. It's interesting though. Definitely interesting. So anyway, you can see the phone I was talking about there. Sometimes you'll see the bed up there get ruffled and move as well. With his hat, there's another one of my hats up there. That'll get twisted around and move sometimes. See if it's moving at all right now. Once I see that, yeah, something's moving it right now. Once I get the camera set down here, then you can generally tell if things are moving up there. It's ever so slight, and it's real. You know, it's not herky jerky. You know what I mean? It's just very kind of like, just kind of, I don't know, slightly spooky. You know what I mean? It's just kind of slightly moving like it's not supposed to be. So anyway, there's that to think about. I think Julia might get a kick out of these when she gets here. She'll get a real kick out of the little stuff that we're dealing with. I don't think anything's going to happen there. Alright, so now we're back to this. Let's get back to the faucet at hand here. Yes, that's me adjusting things and getting it back in whack here. Here's the faucet. Once I get this set, this little tripod, I'll just let it go. You can see it. You'll notice the wire on it's moving. This little wire here on the side moves up and down a lot, turns around back and forth and what have you. And the whole head of the thing kind of rocks back and forth. It's a swivel anyway, but it's stiff, and so there's something actually acting upon it to move it. I mean, it's requiring outside force. It's not just flopping around there. And then sometimes you'll see the whole head, the whole arm of the thing move, and it'll swing. And sometimes it follows me around the room too. It's quite an unusual thing to watch. Well, you should be able to clearly see it moving by now. There's nobody touching that. There's no strings or nothing attached to that. I don't know if it's some kind of magnetic anomaly or... You know, the thing is made out of plastic and pot metal, the little swivel thing, so I don't really think that like magnetics could be, you know, affecting it very much. I'm sure if there's other magnetic forces, spiritual forces or something that we can't see, they could definitely be affecting it in ways that, you know, aren't obvious to us at first. But this is it's just one of those things when you're sitting there late at night and then all of a sudden the faucet starts moving, you're like, you look over there and you go, what is going on, you know? And you start paying attention to it over time, and he's like, wow, there's something really happening here. Not only that, but this faucet seemed like a hot spot now for at least a month. It's been about a month now since it became active. And it wasn't like this always. I lived here for a year and a half, 2 years before, and never had this going on. So there's all kinds of new stuff's coming. Going into a new age, I guess, and lots of new stuff to learn. I've also had several visitors. I said at least 8 to 10 different entities have come through here, and I didn't physically see them, but I could sense them, and they were all different. So they weren't the same person or something, or you know, of that nature. But they, you know, one was a Middle Eastern guy, and one was Jessie, my ex. I mean, she was actually walking through the living room here, and she hasn't walked in over 8 years. You know, she's been in a walker for quite a while now, and she got up just out of the chair just as plain as day and walked across the floor and went in the bathroom. So I went up there and asked, hey, you okay? You know, she wasn't in there. She wasn't in the bathroom. So, you know, I thought I was seeing things, and I go, no, I don't think it's, you know, you're not hallucinating. It's not like that. Because all this other stuff's going on, the stuff that I've been documenting, you know, it's actually happening. And so now you look at it and you go, you know, maybe he's just standing in an interesting place where he sees in both worlds, kind of. And yeah, it's definitely challenging because, you know, my neighbors come by and they go, what are you doing? I said, oh, just talking to some friends. And they go, well, there's nobody in here. You know, it's like, well, yeah, but, you know, how do you explain that to them? Because some people, they're just not going to believe no matter what. You know, and I mean, I'm not trying to convince anybody anything. I don't want people trying to tell me I'm crazy because I do have these experiences, you know. It's not like that at all. I'm just more in tune to it, I think. So anyway, yeah, when these picked up a couple of weeks back, I was starting to get a little concerned because Julia's going to be coming down here to live with me, and her and her son, and I didn't know if she had any kind of exposure to this kind of stuff, you know, in the past where she would be okay, you know. And I mean, some girls get really freaked out. They'll run out of the house, screaming, and I'm never going back in there, kind of stuff. And I think she's more rational than that, but I don't think she really even knows the magnitude of what's going on here. And she may not be receptive to it at all. Some people aren't. You know, they're just closed down to it. She goes to church every Sunday, but she could still be spiritually blind to what's happening. I mean, that happens. You know, it's just you got different eyes. It depends on what world you're looking into. So anyway, yeah, you can see this thing's clearly moving. It's doing its thing here. Sometimes I thought, you know, maybe it was me affecting it, but I can't really make it do what I want it to do. But, you know, I thought, well, okay, maybe it's the corrosion from the calcium deposits. But, you know, the handles down here turn, and this whole neck moves, and come on, do something. I know you can do this. I can feel you doing it. There's like this anomaly right here in the energy field too. It feels like when you stand there you're drunk. It's just like you're swaying back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it's like you know, and then I'll see some vaporous thing over here. It's kind of unusual, you know. I don't see it real clearly, you know, but it's definitely telling me there's somebody there, there's something there, there's some kind of spiritual entity just hanging out. So the question is, what does it want, you know? I mean, it doesn't seem harmful at this point. It's just kind of playing around and boogieing around. Yeah, the stuff that I see, it almost looks like a mirage. You know, it looks like kind of a mirage over the, like you see when you're out on a road, in a long straight road when it's hot. You get that same kind of vaporous apparition kind of deal where things don't look clear. You know, they look like it's transitioning from world to world. Does that make sense? Like it's going from, you know, like water turning into steam kind of deal. It's just the same. It's the same thing. It's still water, but it's in different forms. And I think everything's energy as well. And it's just, you can see it in these different forms now. It's more receptive to it. And so ideally, then, it's like trying to align yourself with it, because that, I mean, there's a great amount of energy and force there that's all around the world that we can tune into and use in creative ways. I'm sure there's people that try to use it destructively as well, you know, like hauntings or whatever, but it's just spiritual energy. I guess, you know, it really goes to intent and will. You know, it's what are you trying to accomplish with it, and how will you better, you know, how will you use it to better help your fellow man. You know, I've had several people come by and demonstrate the ability to move things psychically, you know, non-physically, in the last couple of weeks, and I've even been open to having done it myself now, and so it's interesting. It's definitely a whole nother realm of possibilities that opened up to me. Yeah, I'm swinging that whole arm around here, getting this whole thing going, it's going off that way with it, and he'll do that. And he likes to go over there. I like to sit over there. He likes to point it at me for some reason. He'll swing that arm around, and then he'll kick the tip out at me. I've actually had an experience where I saw energy flowing off of this thing. It was some kind of like almost like orangish golden energy. It was really interesting, just flowing like water, coming right off the head of this thing. You know, it was actually pointed at a piece of a metal pan over here, and when it hit the metal pan started to levitate a little bit. It's pretty interesting. It's like it created a buffer underneath the plate, in between the countertop and the plate. And it wasn't very thick, you know, maybe a couple sheets of paper thick, but it was just enough to get the resistance. You know, it wasn't sitting on the counter any longer, and so it could, like, it was flopping back and forth like this. It's kind of just, it's really weird to watch, you know. It's just an interesting phenomena. But I've seen this thing turn all the way around, and the soap bottle over here, the soap bottle will do some weird stuff too. I can put this over here. Put that right there, you guys can look at it, but the top on this stupid thing, it gets moved around. Quite a, you know, you can't really see it there, huh? Let me put it right here. Yeah, this plastic top it's got a mind of its own too. See, it's already starting to move. I've seen the whole bottle move around. Let me turn this camera back so we're focused there. I've seen this whole cap turn around on here, and you can see this thing's moving more now. And yeah, there's nobody touching those. It's all doing it on its own. They're just sitting on the counter, and I thought, well, it's not a constant earthquake or anything like that. You know, you see the metal thing, and you think, okay, well, maybe the corrosion, you know, but that doesn't explain, like, the cap on this bottle right here is turning right now. It's just going back and forth, and why is it doing that? I mean, it's like there's some force acting upon it, obviously. Something that's not readily seen. I'm trying to keep this video short because YouTube, they blocked them. When they hit 20 minutes, they won't even post them. They're just too long. They've got some neat editing software that makes it pretty convenient to break them down into pieces. Anyway, I imagine that this bottle could turn, you know, all the way around where this label is facing us. You know, if it, let me see here. I can make them dance here. if you can see that or not, but it's clearly moving. Even the faucet's doing its thing. Very clearly they're getting closer to each other. I need to get this metal ring to turn around here. Right here in the front, and turn around and point at the camera if I can. Should be able to do that. But you can notice the base of the soap here, right here, where it's on the counter, it's twisting around and moving. Just so slightly, ever so slightly, but it's doing it. And I think that's what's causing the bottle to move and shift. Well, there's no reason that it should be moving on its own like that. I mean, it's definitely, there's some force acting upon it. You don't understand here. Here's the cap, right? On there. I should be able to move that cap around. You should be able to twist it. Almost twist it, 180 degrees. You should be. It's not tight. It requires very little effort to twist it one way or the other. I would think it requires more effort to move the metal, but apparently, what I found is that it doesn't matter how heavy the object is, because it's the spirit acting upon it, and it's kind of weird, but the spirit permeates everything, so it's not limited by weight and what have you. Its effectiveness is not limited in the sense that we think of mechanically limitations. You need more horsepower to perform the same task. Turn that up right here. Here you go. Pull it up. Come on. I'm not going to do it. You don't want to do it, huh? There's somebody here. There's a presence here. I don't know. Sometimes when I stand over there, I can feel it get in front of me or behind me. He's moving the cap now. You should be able to just grab that bottle and twist that cap. Just like he was going to refill it or something. I know my wife is here. My wife from 180 years ago. That's an interesting story in and of itself. But we were sealed in the temple. And now that I'm back, I've called